October 1st, 2013. The Glen Park Public Library in San Francisco. It is dead silent. Just the sound of turning pages and the low hum of fluorescent lights. In the science fiction section, a young man sits alone. He wears a t-shirt and jeans, looking like any other tech worker in Silicon Valley, utilizing the free Wi-Fi. But the civilian sitting 2 tables away? That is an undercover FBI agent. The construction workers drilling outside? FBI agents. The couple arguing loudly behind him? All federal agents. They aren't here for a library fine. They are here for the man known on the dark web as Dread Pirate Roberts, the kingpin of a billion-dollar illegal empire, the man who ordered hits on his enemies. The feds have a problem, though. A massive one. If that young man touches a single key, or if he slams his laptop shut, military-grade encryption will kick in. The evidence will scramble, the servers will vanish, and the case will die instantly. They have to catch a ghost, and they have to catch him with his hands on the weapon. To understand how we ended up in that library, we have to look back at the man before the monster. His name is Ross Ulbricht. He wasn't a gangster. He wasn't born into a cartel. He was an Eagle Scout from Texas, a scholarship student, a physics major with a master's degree. Ross was brilliant, but he was also radicalized by his own intellect. He became obsessed with absolute freedom. He believed the government had no right to tell citizens what to buy, sell, or put in their bodies. He wanted to create a perfect free market, a digital utopia beyond the reach of the law. In 2011, Ross combined 2 technologies that were just entering the mainstream. First, the onion router, or Tor, which scrambled a user's location, bouncing their signal around the world. And second, a new, volatile digital currency called Bitcoin, which scrambled the money trail. He wrote the code, rented a server, and launched the Silk Road. His first listing? Psychedelic mushrooms he grew himself. He thought he was running a libertarian experiment, but he had just opened Pandora's box. At first, the site was a quiet secret among tech geeks, but then the media found it. When the blog Gawker published an article exposing the site, traffic didn't stop, it exploded. Suddenly, the Silk Road wasn't just a website, it became the Amazon of vice. You could buy heroin, cocaine, forged passports, and hacking tools. It had a star rating system. It had customer service. It offered refunds if your package was intercepted by customs. It was clean, it was professional, and it was making Ross Ulbricht rich. Millions of dollars in commissions flowed into Ross's digital wallet. He moved to San Francisco, living a double life. By day, he was a cool hipster guy hanging out in coffee shops, talking about politics and physics. By night, he was the CEO of the world's largest drug cartel, running the entire operation from a Samsung laptop. But you can't run a cartel without getting your hands dirty. As the money poured in, the idealist began to die. In his place rose the persona of Dread Pirate Roberts. Managing a criminal empire is stressful. Ross was working 18 hours a day. He was paranoid. He couldn't trust anyone. And then the unthinkable happened. Ross believed one of his employees, a man named Curtis Green, had stolen money and was working with the police. The old Ross, the Eagle Scout, would have fired him. Dread Pirate Roberts did something else. In an encrypted chat with a Hells Angel biker, Ross negotiated a price, $80,000, not for a car, not for a shipment of drugs, but for a life. Ross ordered the murder of his own employee. When the hitman sent Ross a photo of the dead body as proof, Ross didn't panic. He didn't vomit. He typed back, "I'm a little disturbed, but I'm okay." The physics student had become a killer. He would go on to allegedly order 5 more hits to protect his secret. The abyss had stared back, and Ross didn't blink. While Ross was descending into moral chaos, the US government was fighting itself. The FBI, DEA, and IRS were all hunting him, often getting in each other's way. But the darkness of the Silk Road didn't just corrupt Ross. It corrupted the police too. Carl Force, a DEA agent investigating the case, realized that on the dark web, he couldn't be traced either. He started stealing Bitcoin from the government. He blackmailed Ross, selling him inside information. It was a mess of criminals chasing criminals. The technology was too advanced. The encryption was too strong. The feds couldn't hack the server. They needed a mistake. The breakthrough didn't come from a supercomputer or a genius hacker. It came from a tax agent named Alford. He decided to do something simple. He searched Google. He filtered his search for the very first mentions of the Silk Road, dating back to 2011. He found a post on a forum by a user named Altoid promoting the site. Gary dug deeper. He found another post by Altoid asking for coding help, and there it was, a careless mistake from years ago. In the post, the user wrote, "Please email me at rossulbricht@gmail.com." The kingpin had signed his own death warrant before the crime even started. Which brings us back to the library in 2013. The feds knew who he was. They had shadowed him for days. They knew he was sitting there, logged into the mastermind panel of the Silk Road. But they needed the laptop open. If he closed it, the encryption key would vanish and Ross could walk free. They needed a distraction. Two agents, posing as a couple, began to argue behind Ross. The female agent screamed. It was a classic social hack. Human nature took over, and Ross turned his head for a split second to see what the noise was. In that second, his hands left the keyboard. A male agent dove in. He didn't tackle Ross, he tackled the computer. He slid it away across the table and immediately inserted a USB mouse jiggler to keep the machine awake. Ross scrambled, clawing to get it back, but he was pinned against the stacks. The screen was wide open, the sales, the chats, the hits, the millions of dollars in Bitcoin. It was all there. The empire had fallen. The trial was a spectacle, but the evidence was overwhelming. In 2015, Ross Ulbricht was convicted. The judge wanted to make an example of him. She handed down a draconian sentence, 2 life sentences plus 40 years without the possibility of parole. Ross Ulbricht will die in a concrete box. The Silk Road is gone. But the era of cybercrime it started, that is just beginning. Dark web markets continue to rise and fall, bigger and more sophisticated than Ross could have ever imagined. He opened a door that can never be closed. Ross Ulbricht thought he could use technology to escape the law. Instead, he became a permanent cautionary tale of what happens when you stare too long into the Silicon Abyss. Subscribe our channel for the more interesting dark stories.